welcome to the Thrill of Driving tutorial. Couple of months back, we did a tutorial on how to slide a front-wheel drive car with the Hyundai i20 Turbo, and a lot of y'all dropped in tons of comments. The most popular one of which was how to do it with a manual gearbox. The earlier tutorial was with the i20 with the DCT Turbo, and obviously an automatic makes things easier because it is one less thing to think about. But today we have the NIOS Turbo, 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine, 99 bhp, small, light, nippy, darty, fun to drive, power to the people. That's what we call this car, and today we're going to tell you how to have a ton of fun with this car. Hope you guys have smashed that bell icon and subscribed to the Evo India channel, because we got 3 back-to-back Thrill of Driving tutorials coming up. Next Saturday, we're going to teach you how to do the J-turn. You really don't want to miss that. And then the Saturday after that, we're going to teach you how to slide on dirt and look like a really cool, proper, bona fide rally driver. So go ahead, hit that bell icon, and while you're at it, also hit the like button and share this video. Now, I don't want to repeat everything that we spoke about in the last video, but here is a quick recap. First things first, your driving position. Obviously, seatbelt always on. Now, don't sit too close to the steering wheel so you can't use the steering wheel properly. Don't sit too far because then you won't have any leverage. Just enough so that you can have enough leverage on the wheel. Use duct tape. It helps to shut up the passenger if they are screaming too much, and also duct tape is used for the handbrake. So you can release the handbrake easily and don't have to keep struggling with pressing the release button. Next is hand position. Okay, so when you're taking a right-hand corner, so your right hand, which is on the steering wheel, put it at 8 o'clock, which is on the left side bottom of the steering wheel. And then when you're going into the corner, you can yank it to turn the car into the corner. So this much is enough. When you're pulling the handbrake, the rear slides out. You make the corner, and once you've made the corner, straighten it back again. Now, if you're going into a left-hand corner, again, your right hand at 4 o'clock, going into the corner, turn, yank the handbrake, your car's turned, and then correct it back again. So that's the easy way of putting a hand rather than putting it on the steering wheel and then shuffling and working the steering wheel too much. Where do you look? Vision should be ahead. Look way ahead. A good thing to do is lift your chin up and turn your head into the corner. So you're turning into a left-hand corner. You look way ahead. Don't look immediately in front of you. And don't look at the tire barriers, because if you look at the tire barriers, you're going to go into the tire barriers. What do you do with the left hand? You're not scratching an itch with your left hand. Your left hand gonna be busy with pulling the handbrake and slamming gears. The keyboard warriors on social media are right. This is not drifting. This is sliding. Now, drifting is something that's possible in a massive rear-wheel drive, powerful car where you oversteer, or in a nice 4-wheel drive car like Hyundai's WRC cars. In front-wheel drive cars, which is what the majority of us drive, we slide. And there ain't no shame in that. Now, in a front-wheel drive car, you can agitate the car and get it to slide around. That's one way of getting it to slide. Or the second is you use the handbrake. The handbrake is safer. It's a little more dramatic. So this is how you use the handbrake. Get the rear wheels to lock and get the car to slide around. So accelerate into the corner. Look where you want to go, not at the tire barriers. Pull the handbrake, slide, correct. And that's how you do the slide. I'll show that again. You need to build up speed. So that's why you pick up a faster corner, hand position, correct, and that's how you slide. So that's how you do it. But let's break down the theory of it. So this is the theory how the slide happens. When you're going into a corner, obviously you have to carry speed. Speed is your friend. If you don't have speed, you're not going to get the tires unstuck, you're not going to slide. So number one, carry speed. How much speed? You're doing it in first gear, do 35, 40 kilometers per hour, that's enough. Now, when you're going into the corner, as you get to the corner, you're going to brake because you're going to slow down the car. As you brake, when you brake, what happens is, first you lift off the throttle, so there is weight transfer onto the nose, and then you brake, so you have further weight transfer on the nose. So your nose has become heavy, it is digging into the tarmac, your rear has now become light. Now, when the nose is heavy, while you're still slightly on the brakes, you turn into the corner. Obviously, your outside wheels now get loaded, and because the rear does not have as much weight, it is sort of on the edge, and when that happens, that is when you pull the handbrake. So you already have the rear on the edge of grip, you pull the handbrake, you lock the rear wheels, and then the momentum carries the rear around. So your front turns into the corner, your rear, it spins around, and then you have the exit and you gas, gas, gas. So that's how the theory of the slide is. So that's part one, but the second is the exit. You want to carry speed out of the corner. That makes it look even cooler. So how do you do that? That's where the clutch, the gears, obviously the steering, all that comes into play in carrying momentum out of the corner. So with the manual car, you obviously have the manual gearbox, but you also have the clutch. So what do you do with the clutch? Now, riding the clutch is a bad idea, but when you want to do these handbrake turns, I suggest dip the clutch, so let it freewheel. The reason why I'm saying that is if you let the clutch be in, so let it be in gear, because you are in a low gear, you have a lot of engine braking, and that means that the car will slow down way too much and you won't carry enough momentum to do the slide. But when you dip the clutch, so you're freewheeling the car, you have momentum, and you can slide the car. So what do you do with the gears? Obviously, you're shifting gears, so you're in second gear, you've built up speed, you're at 40 kilometers per hour. Before you get to the corner, put it into first, dip the clutch, and slide. You obviously want to be in first because at the exit of the corner, you want the torque, you want the engine to be spinning in the meat of its torque band to actually pull you out. So I'll show you that again. So first, second, you get to a corner, get up to some sort of speed. So you're at say 40 now, shift to first, and then slide the car. But I'll give you another trick out here. Just keep it in first gear because you're anyway going to downshift, and what's the harm? So this NIOS Turbo, for instance, it spins up all the way to 6,500, 7,000 RPM. That's good enough. So you are at 40 over here and you just spin the car around. Easy enough. Important also is to have an enthu cutlet of a car like this Hyundai NIOS Turbo. It is small, excellent for the city and for go-kart tracks. It is powerful, it is the most fun to drive in this segment. It is perfectly tired and you have torque, 172 Newton meters, so you can exit corners hard and fast. So now let's put it all together. Build speed into the corner, you're in second, now shift it to first, clutch in, slide. So what happens in the corner, you've dipped the clutch, you've turned in. Once you've turned in, that's when you've pulled the handbrake, got the rear unstuck and pulled out of the corner. Now here is the trick. With all these modern hatchbacks, they've got drum brakes at the rear and also the handbrake. It operates on a parking brake shoe, which is actually very small. So it doesn't really have that much stopping power. If say you're just driving normally, okay, and you're pulling the handbrake, see, it's barely going to slide, barely. It'll slide a bit, it'll lock up a bit, but it's not going to give you that spin, it's not going to look dramatic. What you need to do is actually activate the foot brake, so the actual brakes of the car, the drum brakes at the rear. So when you're going into the corner, you pull the handbrake, okay? And here you'll have to carry a little bit more speed than you think is safe. So when that speed is there, you're shedding speed. So you pull the handbrake as you go into the corner, and as the car starts to slide slightly, then you tap the brake with your right foot. You can't do it with your left foot because your left foot is on the clutch. You've clutched it in, you are freewheeling. So you use the brake, and then because there's enough braking pressure in the system, that's when the rear really locks up properly and you can spin the car around. So basically, you can't just use the handbrake. You will struggle, your arm will start to hurt, and it's not going to spin around enough. It's not going to lock enough. So to add to the locking effect at the rear, that's when handbrake is pulled and you're stepping on the brake a little bit to increase the braking pressure, lock the rear and turn the car around. That's a tip which you will need a lot of practice on. But do practice, it'll make you much better. Second trick, pump up your tires. Obviously not the front tires, pump up the rear tires, go up to 45 pounds, no problem. That will reduce the kind of grip that you get at the back and make the slide easier. And for God's sakes, before you get back on the road, reduce the tire pressures to 30, 35 pounds, whatever you run on the road. Don't drive on the road with overinflated tires. Third and most important, do this in a safe, closed-off environment like the Pune Kartdrome where we are. This is Pune's brand new go-kart track, brand new karts, excellent layout, and they will also let you bring your car and do stuff like this. This kart track is also just 15 minutes away from the Evo India office, so this is sort of like our home track. And we have an excellent promotion going on with these guys where if you do more than 2 sessions, you get a free copy of Evo India magazine. So if you are in Pune, you must head on down here. Other things you might be interested in knowing, put the AC on. This is actually a solid workout. Your arms, your hands, your feet, everything is going to be hurting. Your back also is going to be hurting because remember, you're also pushing to keep yourself firmly in the seat. Your right hand is working, your left hand is working. Why sweat it out? So put the AC on. It's not going to suck in any more power out of the engine. And with these new Hyundai Turbo engines, there's plenty of power. There's plenty of torque. In first gear, you leave it in first gear, and when you exit the corner, don't dump the clutch because that will affect the drive line. Release the clutch as you would normally, and because there is so much of torque, it actually spins up the tires and pulls you out of the corner. And what else? Yeah, a small nifty car like this NIOS Turbo is a great place to start and a great place to learn how to slide a front wheel drive car. And if anybody tells you this is not drifting, tell them back, it is true, this is not drifting, but in India we use front wheel drive cars. So this is actually a very cool technique to actually master and practice, and that teaches you tons of car control. So eventually when you do graduate to maybe a 4-wheel drive car or a rear wheel drive car, your skills will be sharp. So to recap, to slide a front wheel drive car, put it into first, clutch in, bit of brake to get the tail to come out, opposite lock, and you're done. It's easy. It actually takes time. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, or once you practice on an open parking lot or on a go-kart track, that will really make you much better. Also, don't forget hand position. I like to hold the steering wheel right at the bottom if I'm going to left-hand corner, and then here, turn. So what that does is it gets the steering turned in quickly, and also then you can dial in opposite lock also quickly. And similarly, if you're going into a left-hand corner, you hold the steering wheel out here. Show you that, and then you dial opposite lock once again. So hand position is important because otherwise what you'll be doing is and nothing's going to happen. You have to be quick, precise, and very reactive. Practice, practice, practice. That is what's going to make you perfect, and do it in a safe, closed-off environment like the Pune Kartdrome where we are at. Now, you guys asked us a lot of questions on the last how to slide video, so we're going to take up a few of them. Anu's here with some of the questions.
Does this damage the car?
This is not going to damage the drive line or the components, that is thing. But if you go off and if you hit the tire barriers, then you are on your own. But that said, even if you do go off, what is that going to happen? You're going to scratch the bumpers, you'll have to repaint the bumpers, that's it. And we went off and nothing's happened to the NIOS Turbo. So touch wood, nothing's going to happen.
What about tires?
Tires are going to go. There's no two ways about it. So budget for an extra set of tires.
Can you do this in a sedan?
You can do it in a sedan, and in fact it is easier to do it in a sedan. 2 reasons. Most sedans nowadays have disc brakes at the rear, so you have more braking power, and also that extra weight hanging out at the back of a sedan, it makes it easier to turn the car around. But be aware that a sedan is a little longer, so you might hit the boot with the tire barrier, so just be aware of the size.
What about an SUV?
SUV also you can do it, no problem. In fact, most SUVs are basically hatchbacks with raised ground clearance, so you can do it. You will have a little bit more body roll, but that's about it. It's not going to topple.
I think that about covers all the questions.
So next Saturday, we're going to show you how to do the J-turn with the Verna. And then the Saturday after that, we're going to show you how to slide on dirt and look like a proper rally driver. So if you haven't already, go hit that bell icon, subscribe to the Evo India channel, stay notified for all our video drops, and also leave us a comment below. Let us know if you have any more questions and we will answer that. Thank you guys for watching and be safe. Don't do this on a public road. Please don't do this on a public road. Do it on a go-kart track or a closed up parking lot. But be safe and don't be a nuisance to either yourself or other road users.